participatory than that. I've been boring people all day, you understand, in meetings, so I need a little feedback. Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Dr. Whaley.
Welcome to the first annual Raider Awards. Absolutely. Now, for those of you that I don't know, that don't know me, and I don't know you, I'm Chris Whaley. I'm blessed to serve as president here at Roane State Community College. I tell you what, no one is more proud of these student athletes than me. So, all of us together, let's give a round of applause to all these wonderful student athletes at Roane State Community College. You know, there are certain things about higher education that just belong together. And tests, I guess, you know, one of the things, since we're coming up to the finals week, and registration and all those different things. But, you know, one of the things that really is at the forefront of my mind is the fact that you really, when you talk about college, you talk about higher education, you've got to have athletics. That is just such an integral part of making college what it is. And so we are so grateful for all of these wonderfully talented young women and men who work so hard in class and then work so hard out of class for practices and games and travel and all the other things that they do that too often goes unrecognized. So from the bottom of my heart to all of our student athletes, thank you so much. We are so excited this evening to have Shay Taylor with us as our special guest. Will be introduced a little bit later, but sir, it's our great honor to have you with us. And to those of you who are family and friends of these student athletes, they can't do what they do without all of you. So thank you for your support for all of them as well. And one last thing, and then I'll be quiet. Athletes, you all know this, that there is no better leadership provided anywhere than the coaching staffs of our variety of teams. Right now, I'd like our coaches, assistants, everybody, if you're a coach at Roane State, stand up. Stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Athletics has always been a crucial part of Roane State and what we do here. But I tell you what, we have turned just another level, a corner to get us to another level that's already demonstrating, you know, just the passion that this person has for what all of you do to take us to just these wonderful places and support athletics. And I am sure glad that day to day he's the one thinking about how to make athletics the very best that it can be at Roane State Community College. Our athletic director, David Lane. Come on out here, friend. Congratulations to each one of you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. It was a great evening to be together, and I'm very, more than I can express, honored to have spent this last year with each of you, all the great things that you have done as student athletes and young men and women as a whole. Tonight, we would not be able to do this without a huge support from our Roane State Foundation. I think that that is one of the great organizations in our community college that help raise funds not only for scholarships, but also working toward improving the materials and the opportunities that we have as an athletic department. So thank you very much to the Roane State Foundation for all your support. And also, where most of us were stuck, hugging, talking, and eating primarily, we want to thank Mr. Bill and Jenny Stewart for the Roane State Cafe for providing our dinner for us tonight. Thank you guys. We're going to be doing a lot of things tonight. It's hard to believe that this is the 50th year of Roane State in existence, and again, it was one of the most, I think one of the first, but one of the most exciting years that I've ever been involved with in almost 25 years of coaching myself. So we want to look back for just a little bit before we look forward. So Coach Hall is going to take us through down memory lane just briefly with the history of Roane State athletics.
Community College opened its doors for education in 1970. The first athletic teams were men's basketball and baseball, which began competition in 1972, 50 years ago. 2 years later, in 1974, women's basketball was added, by men's golf, and later, a championship caliber tennis program. After that, softball came along to round out the sports programs at Roane State Community College. Now, in 1984, the Roane State Raiderettes women's basketball team achieved the miraculous by becoming the first Tennessee community college to win a national championship. Then, in 1988, the tennis and golf programs were suddenly and inexplicably shut down, despite the fact that the men's and women's tennis teams were perennially ranked in the top 10 nationally and had finished as high as 6th in the national tournament. Well, after a long hiatus, 30 years to be exact, 4 years ago, men's golf was reintroduced to the Raiders sports arsenal. 3 years ago, volleyball came on board. This year, a women's golf team was added to the Raiders red and blue. Former head coach Larry Works, who is not with us tonight, who, by the way, still teaches at Roane State, was the Raiders' first baseball coach, and later he was also the women's first women's basketball coach. And then he stood in as a baseball coach many other times through the last 50 years. More than 4,000 student athletes have passed through Roane State, with several hundred who advanced to higher levels. At least 2 Raiders baseball players found their way to the major leagues. But possibly, of all the players who competed for Roane State, there are possibly none as notable as Loudon native Bernadette Locke Maddox. As a member of the Raiderettes basketball team, Bernie moved on to play for former Raiderettes head coach Andy Landers at the University of Georgia. Later, she would become the first female floor coach in men's NCAA Division I basketball history. She worked for Coach Rick Pitino at the University of Kentucky. After 4 years with the men's program, she became the women's head coach of the Lady Wildcats. She did that for 8 seasons before moving on as an assistant coach for 10 years with the WNBA's Connecticut Sun. And we are proud to call Bernie one of our own. It's been a great 50 years for the Raiders. Our next 50 years even promise more, as we want to be better, and we anxiously await to see who will be the next amazing student athletes to play under the Raiders flag. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie. It's a lot of incredible history, and you're part of it. And it's always really neat to think about. And look at the relationships we have now, and that you're going to continue to hold those relationships. You'll have special memories, and so will all of us. So great to be a part of that history. Something to be aware of as you go out that I would say we meant to mention earlier with the foundation. We are looking at next year. We will be adding cross country, men's and women's. And also in the fall of 2024, we're also going to be adding women's soccer. So as we all know, that it takes a lot of things, not just scholarships and just scholarship money. There's a lot of things that go into it. The coaches can tell you. So help spread the word through the foundation, also through Roane State Athletics. There was a QR code out front. So one of the things we're going to start launching is getting more people in your communities to say, hey, we're doing some really great special things at Roane State. We've got to help our young people out. So please do that so that we can continue to grow. Coach Hall is going to recognize our teams and coaches now. And I'm looking forward to watching all the excitement tonight. So,
We're excited. At this time, I would like to recognize the various Raiders teams and their coaches, so we'll do this in alphabetical order by sport. Now, if you'd stand up when I call your name and remain standing, and then we'll have your teams join you. Before we start, I would like to recognize Coach David Lane. a former Raiders baseball player, and later head coach of his JUCO alma mater, Roane State. Today, Coach Lane serves as the interim athletic director, and he's assisted by the very capable Amberly Zeller, another Roane State alum and former member of the Lady Raiders basketball team. Now, let's start with baseball. Currently in its 50th season, the Raiders are coached by second-year head coach Cam Hamsley. Would you stand up, Coach Ham? Coach Ham is assisted by Garrett Dalton. Is Garrett with you tonight? All right, well, hey, will the baseball team stand up and be recognized? Thank you, gentlemen. Next up is men's basketball, which just completed its 50th season as well, with an historic conference title and trip to the NJCAA tournament. The Raiders basketball team is coached by first-year head coach Alan Holt. Coach Holt, if you could stand.
Yeah!
Coach Holt worked as an assistant for a former head coach Randy Nesbitt for 6 years before earning the top job. Now, he's assisted this year by the Human Energizer Bunny, Will Caldwell. I didn't see Coach Caldwell here earlier, but I know that he is out on the road doing his thing as well. If any members of the men's basketball team are here, would you guys please stand for us? I should have said the championship men's basketball team. Thank you guys very much. Women's basketball is coached by the GOAT, David Hines. Coach Hines, and Coach, since I haven't told you all day, happy birthday. With more than 800 career wins, he is the 7th winningest head coach in women's NJCAA history and just moved into 4th place among active coaches. Next season, which will be Coach Harnish's 4th campaign at the helm of the Lady Raiders program, he will be joined on the bench by somebody new, who was a standout player in her own right. Now, that official announcement will be coming soon. Now, men's and women's golf. Thank you, Coach. Where's the Lady Raiders? Stand up, girls. Thank you very much. Men's and women's golf is coached by another former Raiders standout, Coach Chris Griffin. Where are you, Chris? He sits far in the back like he's at church. The current version of Raiders golf is a rebirth of a program that many years ago had been shut down. This year's Lady Raiders team is the first ever women's team fielded at RSCC, and that's a big deal. Coach Griffin is assisted by the very talented Bo Harris. Bo, would you stand? And the very smart Tony Wright. Coach Wright, would you stand? And any Raiders golfers here, would you please stand at this time so we can welcome. Now, I don't see Coach J. Where is Coach J? Softball is skippered by head coach Jesse Hackworth. Coach J. Now, since you didn't call me back last night, I'm going to make a shout out. How many years have you been head coach?
6.
6 years, and how long were you assistant?
10 years.
So Coach J is actually our longest standing head coach at Roane State. And she is doing a wonderful job. This year she's assisted by Sophie Patterson. And the Raiders softball team would stand to be acknowledged. Hit them where they aim. Hit them where they aim. Finally, under the leadership of head coach State Volleyball soon began their third season of competition as the defending champions of Region 7 Volleyball. Steve is assisted by first-year assistant coach Haley Jenkins. And with the rest of the Raiders volleyball team stand to be acknowledged. Thank you guys very much. And you guys hit it with a yank too. Another round of applause for all these awesome Roane State student athletes and the best coaching staff in the TWCAA. And now, here is our very talented assistant golf coach, Bo Harris.
All right, everybody.
What's up?
All right, our speaker this evening is someone I am very happy to call a good friend of mine and a great student of the game. He's managed to find success through his entire life, even the most difficult circumstances he's been able to overcome. I don't want to steal any of his thunder, and I can't wait for him to share your story. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Shay Taylor.
It's great.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me to speak at your inaugural award ceremony. Having been an ex-college athlete myself, it's super cool to see everybody dressed up in a uniform and coming together. Even to this day, my best friends are guys that I played ball with in college, so we speak literally on a daily basis via text message or something, so I'm truly honored to be here to share this moment with you guys. And it sounds like you guys have an amazing school and academics as well as what you guys are achieving athletically. So real quick, just to introduce myself, my name is Shay Taylor. I'm originally from Eastern Kentucky. I graduated college 16 years ago, and it hit me actually right on campus here today, how old I'm getting. It's kind of funny. So I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, one of 6 boys in a 2-bedroom house on a dairy farm. So you guys do math on a 1 bathroom, 6 boys, and what that looks like. So from that, athletics was my way to get out of, to move on from working on a farm to get into college, to get an education, to move on to what we're doing now. So, funny thing is, growing up, I was super ill. I was born with a heart issue, had a bunch of other stuff going on. I was a late bloomer. So, growing up, I was really, really small. Got picked on, got bullied, got made fun of. Obviously, the financial situation of my family is another reason for that. So, I'm going to show you a funny picture here. This is my freshman year varsity baseball. So you guys can figure out who I am. 24, 5 foot, 88 pounds. So my freshman year, that's me. So my freshman year, come in, I was always a utility player. What's funny is my parents were not athletes. My mom was my Little League baseball coach, which is kind of funny looking back on it. We were super successful, but she taught me play every position on the field. So what happened is that I was able to be put into something where a team needed me to fill in. So that was my freshman year, and it was a story that my junior varsity coach said in front of the team that actually made me who I am today. It was a foundation to build me to be what we've achieved, and I'll show you later on. So we're standing in, baseball guys will get this, and softball will as well. So we're standing in the dugout, we're talking, and something comes up, and the coach goes, Shay, you know, you could stand in center field with a fungo bat and couldn't hit it over the fence. Yeah, it's funny, you know, and I got made fun of and laughed at it, but it hit me really hard. So with that, what happens is either you take it as a victim mentality or a victor mentality. So what ended up happening is I started living on a farm, started lifting hay bales, working out in the room, and it really drove me to change my physique and build something. So from that, went on into college, and in Kentucky, back when we were playing, you didn't have classes. So I went to a real small rural school, 800 students, and then in my junior and senior year, we were number 1 team in the state. So we had a lot of recruits with UK, Western, Eastern, a couple guys went to Michigan, but I never got looked at because I was 5'6", 130 pounds. So I walked on to university in Campbellsville, Central Kentucky, as a freshman. And from that, ended up starting right field my freshman year as a closer, and by my junior year, I was a all-conference shortstop. So baseball goes on, I graduate, move on to play a little baseball in Canada, moving on to chase my dreams to play in the major leagues. I ended up having an accident where a guy slid through me and snapped my leg in half. So I ended my baseball career. Went through about 6 months of rehab, trying to figure it out. What's funny is I graduated with a criminal justice and psychology degree. I was wanted to go on to be in FBI or work some of the federal agencies, but I couldn't get into the academy because I had healed. So I had to get a job, threw my resume online, went down to Atlanta, Georgia, started selling stuff. Next thing you know, I'm in sales. So from that, I had this void of just competition. So a bunch of buddies and I would always get together when it's UFC fight nights. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm athletically enough to do that. So the next thing I chose to do was get in a cage fight. So trained for about 6 months. Trained with Roy, Forrest Griffin, Todd Duffy. You guys follow the sport, the Lima brothers. A lot of guys you see on TV. Well, these are the guys we trained with. So I had my first fight, won in a minute 48 in the first round. And then I'm training for my second fight, and I have a motorcycle accident. So I'm in the ICU for 15 days. Having all kinds of surgeries. I ended up having like 12 surgeries actually. So from that, I'm laid up, all of a sudden, I don't know what to do. Well, this next picture will show you, that's my leg. So I got hit by a guy texting me driving, he runs over me, didn't know he hit me. And then I had this big metal cage in there, and you can't really see from this picture, it's kind of grainy on the screen, but those lumps are actually my abs. So they took 2 of my abs, covered a hole in my leg, did all kinds of bone grafts, everything else. I had something called drop foot. So I had this on for about 2 months, and they kept going through the surgeries and everything else. And then I get this taken off. This is the next picture. Everybody see it there. And I get that taken off. September 9th of 2010. So then I start rehab, and I'm going through all the physical therapy and everything else, pushing it. Halloween night rolls around, and I'm going to a party. So I pick up some drinks, and I just had this like crazy experience with watching a dad and his son. So the dad picks his son up, puts him on his shoulders, and he walks to his car, and he hits me. He's like, Shay, man, you're never going to be able to do that with the leg you have. So you got to figure this out. So I went home, dropped the drinks off at the party, ended up going home, sat in bed and prayed about it. Texted my physician assistant on Sunday. Tuesday, going to meet with the doctors and the physician assistant, and Dr. Ziegler, who's the ortho, comes in, and he goes, man, I knew you were going to come to this decision. I just didn't know you were going to come to this decision that quickly. So that was Tuesday, November the 3rd or 4th or whatever. So on November the 15th, we come in, we have a processes come in with the doctor, and we're literally tattooing on my leg when we're going to cut it off. So I chose that amputation. So with all that being said, December 7th of 2010, I ended up having an amputation, but prior to that, faith has always been a big part of my life. So I leave the doctor's office whenever we do the blueprinting of the leg or whatever. And I had something called drop foot, and there was a brace in my shoe, and at the end of every day, my ankle would swell and it was just excruciating. So call my mom, tell her about it, she's freaking out, everybody's freaking out, and I'm like, I have a complete peace with it. So I pull over and get off the exit, it's a good old Mexican restaurant, sit down and have a drink, and the guys can tell you this, when you come to a bar, there's empty seats, you don't sit right next to another dude, right? So I didn't want to pay attention. Bar's wide open, I sit right next to this older gentleman. And I'm just in such pain. Dave's just eating at me, and order a drink. Guy's sitting there, and he looks at me, and he goes, hey man, I'll say this in probably 5 minutes. But it felt like an eternity. So he looks at me, and he goes, what's a young man like you that has got the world by a string looking so gloomy and down? And I'm like, man, it's just been a rough day, had some decisions to make today, and we'll figure it out. So I sit there again, time passes, he looks at me again, and he goes, man, like, what is your problem? And I'm like, geez, buddy, says, I'm a homeless guy, right? I'm like, hey man, just so you know, I just chose to cut my leg off, and it's left the doctor's office. And he looks at me and laughs. And I'm like, super mad. Well, he needs me. So I'm sitting here, he's over here, he needs me in his right leg, he has a prosthetic leg. And I'm like, no way. So we sat there till 3 in the morning, and we just talked. And he just tells me everything. So he was from Poland, he got hurt he was 55, 56 years old. At this time he was 19, he got hurt in a farming accident, lost his leg, and from 19 until then, he had never wore shorts in public. He was so ashamed of his prosthetic. So we're talking about secular norms and how people view people that are disabled and can't do things and can't achieve things or whatever else. So we're going through this and we became really good friends. So this next picture is, he took this picture when I came out of surgery. So at this point, I'm back to 100, I want to say 35 pounds. I was addicted to painkillers. It was just all kinds of stuff that was eating at me. So at this point, I just woke up. I don't have a leg now. The funniest thing was, I mean, I'm sure you guys have done it. You go to grab a box, you think something's in it. It's nothing in it. It's super light. Well, I moved my leg. It was just like, it jumped. It was super crazy to get used to. So that was December 7th, 2010, 6 days before my birthday. I didn't want to go into another year dragging my legs. So I wanted to start fresh. January 2011, I get fit for my first prosthetic. And then I'm talking to the fight promoter. They're like, hey man, I know this sounds crazy, but I want you to fight me. I said, well, can you get in front of the fight board and just let us have conversation? I don't know if I can do it or not. Let me come back and see if I can do it. So this is what my everyday looks like. I have 6 inches below my left leg. We're doing all this, and I get back into working out, getting back to lifting weights and doing rehab, gait trainers, and everything else. And then all of a sudden I start rolling, start boxing, start sparring, start everything else. And all of a sudden, the fight promoter puts me in front of the board. We have one conversation, they're like, yeah, we'll see if you can do it. So that's in February and May. Come back and I'm like, hey man, I think I can do this. So then we have to go and create a fight safe leg, which has never been done before. So meet with the doctor, hear the processes, we designed this leg, and they're like, all right, well, I think you can do it. So then August rolls around, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get my license. Well, they're like, hey, hold on, so we'll see you compete. So they put me in a ring. I've been training, total at this point, like, we'll say a year. So put me in a ring with a guy who fought in the UFC for 10 years. I was 185 pounds, he was 230. He beat my brakes for 3 rounds. So I leave there and I'm like, so does the shell. Go to the locker room and I'm sitting there and it's like, it hits me like all this work and it's not gonna pay off. So I come out of the locker room, the fight promoter, the guy that does the announcing, comes up to me and goes, hey man, congratulations, they're going to give you your license. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. So I become the first guy in the world to fight across every leg. Now, the goal wasn't to get back to fight. I just needed something to push myself to get through all the crap that's going on with the leg. So this was just the end result. So from that, I've had 3 fights since becoming an amputee. I'm 1 and 2. And then I got a couple of videos here to show you that leads into the next thing that happened last year. So I only show these videos not to say, hey, look what I can do. It's to show you that nothing is impossible. So I know everybody here's an athlete, so you'll recognize it. So those are 2 Bosu balls on top of each other. So at this point, I've never done this before. I'm like, oh crap, this is really miserable. I'm really trying to psych myself up here. A random text message, and it says, hey, somebody has nominated you for Mr. Health and Fitness, Men's Health and Muscle and Fitness competition. So I think it's a joke, and I'm like, well, which Nigerian prince is sending me $25 million? Just go ahead and send it to a bank account, we'll do whatever. And they're like, no, seriously, somebody's nominated you, would you be interested? And I'm like, well, what does it entail? So they send me a link, and they're like, fill out a profile, whatever else. So from that, I'm like, all right, 300,000 people entered this contest. And I'm like, oh, well, you got to separate yourself and figure out ways to really show what you're able to achieve and be an influence and inspire others that are going through stuff. So these next 2 videos are things I did last year to really push myself to see how far I can go to enter the contest. So these are all stuff I put on social media to get views and likes and for people to vote in the contest. Now this is 1,100 pounds on leg press.
Wow.
Contest started in May, 300,000 people, and you're in a group, and then it whittles it down after each round. So get to July, middle of July, I'm driving to Nashville, and I get a call that I made to the final 8 of 300,000 people. I'm like, oh, this is legit. So the winner gets 20 grand. I'm like, all right, that'd be a cool paycheck to get. So I'm in Nashville, so I had messaged any of my buddies. I hit them up and said, hey, if you guys can spread the word, let's see what we can do. So August of last year, I became Mr. Health and Fitness for Muscle and Fitness magazine. So they flew me out to Los Angeles, to Vegas, had a photo shoot, gave me $20,000. And from that, blessed enough in business, I was able to donate that back to my community in Eastern Kentucky. So the fun part about it was that all these people that invested in me in my life, I was able to reinvest into them, just as your athletic teachers here and coaches and everything are doing to you guys. The same thing you guys are going to do when you get out of college and move forward and what you're going to achieve to be able to invest back in the communities that invested in you. So from that, I got a 4-page centerfold write-up in the magazine to share my story. And this has allowed me to meet a lot of people that have undergone other injuries that were scared of being inferior or disabled or whatever else. And then after this, golf as Bo mentioned before, is a passion of mine. So the last 2 years, I've really hit it hard. I'm the 5th ranked adaptive golfer in the world. So this May, I'm going to go over to London and represent the United States as our Ryder Cup team versus the Euro Ryder Cup team.
All right, come on.
So what we'll leave you with is just the power of the human mind. So it's crazy for me to say this, but you guys are young and you're going to face the world. Like athletics are going to end at some point for some of you. Others may go on and play at another level, but at the end of the day, athletics is in for you. But while you're striving for that, the power of the mind is amazing. So I came across a story, and I didn't believe it at first. So anybody know what this is? That's a refrigeration boxcar. So obviously this is how they get meat or produce or whatever else across the world frozen. So there's a gentleman that was hired to fix one of these that was broken. So he goes into the boxcar door shuts behind him and he's locked in. So he starts freaking out, starts beating on the door, screaming, nobody comes, and then he has a wife and family. So he has his notepad or whatever he was doing for his work or whatnot, and he starts writing notes. So he writes the notes down saying, hey, it's getting really cold. I don't know what this is going to do. Nobody's answering. And he does this for like 24 hours. Nobody comes in. In his last letter, or in his last note, he writes, I'm feeling really, really cold. I can barely feel my fingers. I think this may be my last words. So I think like 48 hours, somebody comes in and they find him in this refrigeration boxcar. The crazy thing is, it was 56 degrees when they found him. It wasn't frozen. He went in to fix it. He had psyched himself out so much that he died of hypothermia without it being cold enough to kill him. So it tells you the power of thinking positively versus the power of thinking negatively. They have an effect on you. It's no different than anything you're visualizing, shooting free throws, whatever sport you're doing. If you visualize a success, you're going to have a much greater ability to have success. If you visualize a failure, you're going to fail. And now Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you're right. Right, so that's what we have here, and that's what you guys go. When you guys move on in life, there's a great world out there. You guys have a great opportunity to make a big impact. I'm thankful for you guys to have me in here and share this monumental evening with you, and I appreciate you guys hearing my story.
At this time, we want to give you a chance to ask Shay any questions that you would have, and I'm going to hand the microphone over to Martha, who will be the microphone person.
questions, raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone to you. Come on, you gotta have a question.
Don't be shy.
Going up here for a golf question. Yes.
The golf team has got to know how far you hit your driver, Shay.
My furthest drive's 407 at my club. And then, I mean, I'm anywhere from 310 to 340.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Maybe.
Shay, I've got a question while somebody else is thinking. What do you say to someone who feels like they don't see a way out of their darkness?
So it's back to victim mentality. So I'm a big quotes guy. One of my favorite quotes is, "I'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war." And that means you're preparing yourself for anything. So when there are obstacles and things that come into your life, you have that perspective to say, all right, I've overcame this, I've already prepared myself for this, and it just allows you to go after it versus being a victim of it.
Martha in the back.
Coming. Oh my gosh. I kind of feel like I'm on the Price is Right or something. Okay. There you go.
Sorry. Something I was just kind of thinking that I wanted to ask you. So, being a part of a team, I would want to know, being a part of a team and then moving to, so many like individual sports. What do you miss most about being a part of a team, and what do you love most about competing individually? I guess if you could just kind of expand on some of those things.
Yeah, so the camaraderie of the team, and the fun part about that is just how, and there's so many different dynamics of a team. So everybody brings different skills to it. Everybody has something they're good at, things that are weaker. So I've always been a motivator and leader by example. So in sport, it wasn't, I was going to rah-rah you. It was like, hey, if you want to work on something, meet me at the cage or meet me wherever, we'll work on it. But you're going to put the work in to make it happen. And I miss that going into the bus travel. I know it sounds horrible, but traveling on the bus is the card games, the talking about life. And then what's funny is, the conversations we had in college versus the conversations we're having today where, gentlemen are having kids and they're raising families and they're looking at being entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur, so I jumped out on my own several years ago to do my own thing. And, it takes guts to do that. And then people see you do that. And in the team setting, you're there to support them any way you can. And what's funny is everybody thinks that, like cage fighting or track or whatever else is an individual sport. It's not. There's no such thing as an individual sport. It's an individual game. It's a game played by individuals, but a team makes you do what you are. So even that, your training camps or whatever else, you're still working together in a team. There's nothing you're doing on your own. Golf's the same way. You got people you're working with, you're constantly training, you're picking brains, you're having conversations. What I would say is that the relationships you build are the greatest things ever when it comes out of team sport. And then you transition that into business. Everybody's got to be on a team as well. And then you're leaders in the business. You've got other things that you help other people that you've done through sport. And when I hire people in my company, it's always an athlete.
I have a question. You have been, amazingly successful and of course overcome immense obstacles and an obstacle. But obviously in the striving for success, we all hit roadblocks or hit times when we're like, that's it, I'm giving up, I can't do this anymore. So can you enlighten us as to what keeps you pushing forward when you were sitting there in the darkness, as you referred to? What helped you get past that?
Faith. 100% faith. So for me, it was always like, never, God, why? It's like, what are you trying to teach me? So why am I going through this? I always say my story is the combination of Job and David. And it's like, all right, he's blessing us with these gifts, but also he takes them away. And then he's humbling you. So with all that, it was just my ability to say, all right, center me, you're literally putting me in a space where I can't move, for me to be quiet to listen to you. What are you trying to teach me? And then those are the greatest growths personally. And then you apply that to business and whatever else you're doing. And then what happens is he always honors and provides.
Awesome. Other questions? Can you describe to us what is a safe prosthetic for fighting?
So obviously this leg here is a metal pylon. So if I were to kick you with this, it would hurt extremely bad. What ended up happening is, in essence, I call it a pull noodle. They made such a soft leg that it was such a disadvantage for me to use in kicking that now I'm limited to literally just having 3 limbs to defend myself. So it was just something that wouldn't cause crazy damage to an opponent. And then what's even funnier is, prideful, I would never use it because I didn't want anybody to have an excuse, so that's how they got beat.
Martha down front.
Oh, coming. Not one person next to me.
So what sport do you plan on conquering next? Because you've already done baseball and golf, so.
So golf, my goal in golf is to make I know it's crazy, but in 11 years I'm eligible for the senior tour. I want to be the first disabled person to make it on a PGA tour.
You think you could ever play volleyball?
I can still hoop.
Okay. You should come play with us.
No, yeah, it's funny as I was telling Bo, and I don't know if this is accurate or it's just seeming that way. It seems like you guys are way taller than when I was in college. Everybody. Yeah.
Recruiting.
I hear you.
Anybody else? We're just shy of my steps for the day, so.
Fitness stream.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Come on. Like, you're sitting here before this really incredible human being.
Nothing's off limits.
Nothing's off limits.
What's your daily food intake? Oh my God.
Good one, Coach Shay.
So.
Any learns how to eat better besides just Taco Bell?
Hey, their defense, I was in college once, and I know what it's like to have the scrums and tuna fish and Taco Bell and everything, so I totally get that. The fun part about that is cooking is my jam, so I cook every night. I process my own meat, so I kill my own cows, my own pigs off the farm, take them through my deep freeze. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, like once you get and understand it, that's the number one key to your success physically is your diet.
Do you have a high protein diet, low carb diet?
100%.
100% high protein, any carb at all?
Very little.
What's your percentage of body fat?
Right now? So I'm under 10 right now.
You said nothing was off limits.
I'm under 10.
Okay.
All right, any more questions?
There's one right up here. Coming.
Yeah, baby.
All right, so I did have a question because I do notice, I didn't think about this as an athlete when I was younger, and I probably didn't think about it until it was too late. But leading up to tournaments and fights and overall competitive events, how important to you was your timetable for, starting to rest, not staying up way too late? No 4 a.m. bedtime for a 6:30 a.m. workout.
So, I get that question, but what I'm about to answer is every coach here knows cringe. So when I was in college, I was a machine. I slept 4 hours a night, and here's why. So I was really, really bored. So you guys are athletes. Hopefully this resonates. I worked a full-time job, 40 hours a week, took full classes, and played baseball. And slept 4 hours a night. I had to. I mean, I didn't have any other choices. So I got a partial scholarship in baseball, and I had to pay for my own school. So with that, it's all about mentality anyway. So, I mean, if you're doing the proper things diet-wise, if you're taking care of yourself in that sense, I mean, the mind is so powerful, you can overcome all kinds of stuff. So with all that, I mean, I get the question, but I still to this day sleep very little. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning, go to the gym, do my Bible studies, I got an 8 o'clock tea time every morning, Tuesday through Sunday, so I work out, go play golf, and then work. I mean, I know it's not a popular answer, but it is what it is.
Well, it's individual, right?
Yeah.
So it's just how everybody's bodies works differently. Anybody else?
How much do you max on bench?
So what's funny is when you get older, you don't do that. Well, what I do is 225, 4 reps of 25.
You said 4 sets of 25 or
Yeah, I'll show you later. You look at my Instagram, you see all that stuff. Yeah.
No, I believe you.
You just saw your leg press 1,100 pounds 5 times.
I did.
Shay Taylor.
Any other questions? I don't know about y'all, this is going to make me whine a little less about things. Right? When you're working out? Come on.
Shay, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And Mara, you can give that back to Dr. Whaley. I think they'll need it again later.
Oh, okay, here.
Right now, we're going to talk a little bit and recognize our all-academic student athletes. The first part of being a student athlete is what? Being a student. Thank you, Shelby. In a few months, the NJCAA will be releasing their list of academic All-Americans for 2022. Last year, here at Roane State, amidst all the craziness of COVID-19, the Roane State Raiders named 13 players to the NJCAA All-Academic, or they were Academic All-Americans. That's 12% of our athletic roster. Pretty amazing. Now, to qualify for the NJCAA All-Academic Awards, student athletes must maintain a grade point average of 3.60 or higher. 3.60 to 3.79 gets you on the third team. 3.8 to 3.99 gets you on the second team. And then, if you're a 4.0, you are on the first team of the Academic All-Americans. If you're here, please stand up when I call your name. The following Roane State students earned Academic All-American honors in 2021. On the first team, from Raiders Baseball, Dakota Danner.
How's that?
And Chase Terry. Double-handedly, they are trying to prove that baseball players are not dumb. So, now from men's basketball, neither one of these guys are here tonight. They have moved on. But from men's basketball, Jacob Naylor and Matt Bean were first-team All-Americans. So, achieving second-team honors from the softball team, Emily Barnes and Lauren Lawson. From the men's basketball team, no longer with us, Michael Fowler made the second team. And from women's basketball, Chloe Rohr. Earning third-team All-Academic honors from volleyball, Gracie Conlon and Emily Evans. From men's golf, Andy Fox. Another baseball player, Jackson Odette. And from softball, Kara Wyatt. The 13 student athletes named Academic All-Americans last year were one more than the previous year, and 3 of those students were given the prestigious award for the second year in a row. So a very warm and outstanding round of applause for these student athletes who excelled in the classroom as well as on the playing field. Coach Lane is coming back to recognize some champions.
If you've been around campus, you know that we've had exciting years. First off, with our 1984, with our women's national championship, the last May, for the first time in 41 years, a Roane State golfer qualified for the NJCAA tournament. Southeastern Region tournament in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Andy Fox posted a two-day total of 151, qualified for the national tournament, which was held in Plymouth, Indiana. First time since June 4th of 1980 that a Raiders golfers competed in the national level, with the last duffer that did that was our own head coach, Chris Griffin. This past November, their second season of competition, our volleyball team accomplished things that almost no one thought that they could. Almost. On October the 19th, the Lady Raiders down Walters State 3-2 to upset the perennial powerhouse champions and take the regular season championship. Then 11 days later, defeat them in the Region 7 tournament, taking 4 sets, but taking home the championship as well. Just last month, something else amazing happened. It took 50 years and 5 minutes of overtime, but first time in college history, our Roane State men's basketball team won the NJCAA Region 7 championship and advanced to the national tournament in Kansas. I remember early in the year, we were talking about teams winning and pushing each other, and it's the energy and the drive to push each other. I think that's what helps and is going to continue to drive Roane State athletics to become great on all sides. So it's exciting to look forward to. So congratulations to our men's golf, volleyball, men's basketball, and all they've accomplished. But at the same time, we have so much more to do and look forward to. At this time, Coach Steve Dahlman is going to be presenting the championship rings for our women's volleyball team.
First, we're going to introduce the sophomores, and really proud of the sophomores because they had to go through a COVID year and their season got canceled. Then they played in the spring, and then they had to play back-to-back, so they played basically 9 months straight. So very proud of them. And first is Taryn Lane. Next is Abby Stennett. And then next is Sydney Smith. Sally Spangler. And our transfer, Maddie Taylor. Emily Evans. Olivia Ellen. Chloe Howard. Catherine Roberts. Skylar James. Madison McWhorter. Hannah Day. Morgan Lancer. Mary Beth Luby. Skylar Jenkins. Maddie Arnett. And then our photographer, bus driver, cheerleader, everything else, Sean.
A ring for the man who started it all, Steve Dalman!
Right now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge several of our Raiders athletes for their individual accomplishments on the court. The following student athletes have been acknowledged as TCCAA All-Conference Performers. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing. From men's basketball, a first-team All-Conference player and tournament MVP, a.k.a. Alec Kegler. From women's basketball, first-team All-TCCAA and Freshman of the Year honors, Catherine. Kirby Brown was recognized as an All-TCCAA performer for the second time, and it's her first time to be named to the first team. So Kirby, would you stand up for us? Also from women's basketball, this lady was named to the second team All-Conference, Macy Kirby. Stand your feet for a minute. From volleyball, Sydney Smith was named All-TCCAA. Sydney. Maddie Arnett was named All-TCCAA and was the Region 7 MVP. A very big round of applause for these outstanding athletes.
One of the most amazing things about this time of year is it's playoff time. It's wrapping things up. I know that some of our student athletes will be here again Monday night with their coaching staffs for awards night for the academic awards from college. But at the same time, being that student athlete, finishing that finish line, finishing the race that you started, we want to recognize our student athletes who are going to do that in just a short couple of weeks. Don Brokaw was a former network anchorman and said, you're educated, your certification is your degree, and you may think of it as your ticket to the good life. But what it actually is it's a ticket for you to change the world. So each success that you make moves on forward to where you can have that impact. As Shay was talking earlier, you have that much more of an advantage and ability. We have 32 student athletes who will be graduating this May. We want to recognize them now. Our graduates will be, first time that we've done this, we want to make this an annual thing. We'll be awarded medallions with the Roane State Power R on it, and you can wear that at graduation. I think Dr. Wayne will be acknowledging those who are wearing the medallion at graduation, so everyone will know that you are a Raider. That's impressive.
All right, we're going to call out your name, and when you come up on stage, if you receive your medallion, move to stage right, and everybody stay up here for photos when it's over. First, let's start with baseball. We're doing this alphabetically. Chase Terry, come on down. Jared Chabon. Double D, Dakota Danner. How about you, Matthew Jenkinson? Come on down. Zachy Anderson. Joe Bertram. Dawson Conder. Jeb Hurst. And Montana Dickerson. Did I miss anybody from the baseball team? All right, let's move on to men's basketball. We have 6 graduating this year, beginning with Floyd Williams. Elijah Cobb. A.K. Alec Kegler. Jalen McCullum. The heart of the Raiders basketball team, Jawan Moore. And the next mayor of Cosby, Tennessee, Austin McKeon. From women's basketball, Chloe Roar. From men's and women's golf, Wyatt James. I thought Coach was going to be reading this. So from women's golf, Carolyn Jacobs. Did I say that right? And from the men's golf team, Jacob Parton. All right, softball, Jada Reeves. Kara White. Ashlyn Tyndall. Bailey Reagan. She wears number 8, she plays number 8, Chandler Baldridge. Macy Limbaugh. Courtney Willis. Emily Barnes. And Skylar Stout. Man, the crowd's getting thin. Let's look at volleyball now. Emily Evans. Abby Stinnett. The lefty, Sydney Smith. And Sally Spangler. These Lady Raider athletes will be graduating this May, as Coach Lane said. So a big round of applause for the effort that they put in the classroom as well as on the fields of play. seats, one of the goals that every coach at a junior or community college has is to prepare his or her players to move on to the next level. Our athletic director, David Lane, played here and went on to Middle Tennessee, where he was part of teams that won 2 Ohio Valley Conference championships. Our golf coach, Chris Griffin, was a golfer here and represented the Raiders at the NJCAA National Tournament before moving on to Tennessee Tech. Our women's basketball coach, David Harnish, played basketball at Western Nebraska Community College before moving on to Adams State. And our athletics assistant, Amberly Zeller, played for the Lady Raiders basketball team before she moved on to play for Reinhardt University. Scores of players over the last 50 years have advanced to the NAIA or NCAA. Here are 9 players so far who have committed to play next season at 4-year schools. So when I call your name, if you would please stand. And I was going to start with men's basketball. I'm going to move that to the back. From women's basketball, Chloe Roark will be moving on to Maryville College. For men's golf, Wyatt James is headed to Bethel University. And Jacob Parton will be continuing his playing career at Tennessee Wesleyan. Now, 3 Raiders volleyball players couldn't stand not to be with each other, so Sydney Smith, Taryn Lane, and Madison Taylor will all be digging and killing for Johnson University next year. Now back to men's basketball. Juwan Moore will be moving to Eastern Nazarene University in Boston, Massachusetts. Trey Johnson will wear the uniform of Johnson University next fall. And Alan Kegler will be making an announcement very soon that should make all of us excited. So please, one more time, let's show our appreciation for these fantastic student athletes and their accomplishments. And now, welcome back to the stage, Roane State President, Dr. Chris Whaley.
Has this been a great evening or what? We're so proud of each of you and many congratulations. Let me just say a quick word before we go again. As Dave said, the Roane State Foundation supports students across the board that attend Roane State in a variety of needs that they have, and certainly including athletics. And they make a lot of events happen for us. They make a lot of dreams come true through the needs that they supply. And so let me encourage all of you who have maybe some thought toward how you can give back to future Roane State athletes. Talk to the folks at the Roane State Foundation, because they clearly have the best eye toward the needs and the ways that you can help supply them. And we're really proud and grateful for all those folks who donate and make student dreams possible through the Roane State Foundation. Good night to all of you. Thanks so much for being here. Students, we are so blessed to have you at Roane State. Congratulations. Have a good night.